Now, the type of people that we attract, I could say non-scientists. So in fact, out of my 16 registered member, none of them, none of us are working in biotech or in anything related to biology.
Really? Hi everyone, it's Esther. I'm here with JK Chan, calling in from Tokyo. So he has been part of the biohacking community for a bit. So we're going to be highlighting community members in the biohacking and genetic engineering design group on Facebook. So JK is one of our guests, and he's a fantastic guest. I've recently only met last year, or in 2019 at Biohack the Planet. He came all the way from Tokyo to meet us in Las Vegas to chat about our initiatives and really get involved and join the community. So welcome back. We're really excited. I'm really excited to interview you and get to know some of your initiatives and some of your projects that we're about to, talk about. So my first question is, go ahead and introduce yourself and, who are you and what's kind of your project?
Okay. So you can call me JK is my initial. So I represent a nonprofit organization called Open Pet Taste. So our objective is our mission statement is this. So we want to solve the plastic waste problem with biotechnology. And in the means of doing that, we will also want to spread biotechnology knowledge among the public, meaning the general citizens, because I certainly believe that if more people get more knowledge, they can participate in realizing this dream. So when I started in this Facebook group, so the plastic waste problem didn't come at first. So I was on a learning mode. I didn't have a microbiology a certificate or diploma. So I learned a lot from this Facebook group. I mean, I did my PCR experiments and a lot of other things based on the advice that I get from this group. So I'm really learning. But then I think about 2 years ago, I stumbled upon this paper published in 2016. So in fact, that paper. That paper was talking about Japanese scientists discovered a microorganism in a garbage dump site in a city called Osaka back in 2016. So that microorganism's name is Ideonella sakaiensis, and that microorganism was found to be able to break down PET, which is the plastic polymers, to the monomers. And it did it with secreting enzyme called peptase, which is where our organization's name come from. So Ideonella sakaiensis will break down PET into carbon source that it can consume as its own energy source. Now, after reading this, I was thinking, wow, this is something to work on, right? So, I learned the basic stuff, but I found the central theme to further enrich my own experience, not only my own, and also people around me. So that's how we started.
So how large is your group, and what kind of lab do you operate out of right now?
Yeah, so we, as an organization, we have 16 registered members. We were certified by the Tokyo Metropolitan last Christmas Eve. And the organization itself is governed by a board of director, well, 4 directors. So I was elected as the chairperson of this organization. And on Facebook, we have 120 over followers. So we are still very, very small. Well, you guys have 7,000 over, right? So we are still very, very in the beginning on the S phase right now.
Right. So then, yeah, where's your group right now? I know that during the pandemic, we kind of had to shut down things, and Tokyo is handling it very differently than the United States. So, is your group still meeting in person, or has everything moved online? Like, what does laboratory work look like?
Okay. So for this past 1 year, the chronological events was like this. So back in February, that was the last time that we could enter our community lab. That's when the last time that during that time we were doing colony selection of the petes. However, the experiment failed. But after that, we couldn't enter the lab again. So we have never been able to repeat our experiment, well, for this specific experiment. But during that process, we gradually moved to online. So I organize online workshops. For example, explaining what is central dogma, for example. So very, very basic stuff. And then in October, we thought situation was getting better. So we took one step forward. So we say, okay, in a lab is like is very confined space. So we do not want to do it in a lab. We do on an open space. So we organize a workshop. So that is not online. That is like a real person. So we have about 15 people coming in. So we did the BioBits, so the cell-free system experiment. So people can use it. So it's not dealing with living organism, but just putting in enzymes and then seeing the luminous color change. So that kind of very simple stuff. So we did it. And then learning from that experience, we did another workshop. It's DNA fingerprinting. So basically, we just run PCR. We are not doing any lab living organism. People just like trying out pipetting, and just pipetting alone could attract a lot of people, is what we found out.
Right. Yeah, it's fantastic that you started this initiative of you were coming to Biohack the Planet just to learn more about the community and what people were doing in their community labs. And so I love that you brought it back to Tokyo, and then you started teaching and mentoring on your own initiative and gathering a group of people that's interested. So yeah, that's super exciting. So going back to PETES. What is your audience that you would like to capture in the future? So we know what the project is. Who is this for? Yeah, so can you talk more about that?
Yeah, sure. Our audience is not limited to Japan. But right now, as we are, most of the members are based in Japan, and the medium of our workshops are mostly in Japanese as well. Now, the type of people that we attract I could say non-scientist. So in fact, out of my 16 registered member, none of us are working in biotech or in anything related to biology.
Really? How is
Yes.
one so self-sustaining teaching all of this?
Well, I hope I'm not the one who is teaching. In fact, the grand design that I have in my head is, okay, in the first lesson, I'm going to teach. And then from that classroom, we select people who are engaging and willing to learn and contribute, and they become the next teachers. And that's how we multiply. So in fact, in my October and November workshop, I wasn't the main teacher. So they are already like second and third generations, like already doing what I was doing, right? So PCR is simple enough, right? So there's no dangerous material that they were dealing with. Yeah.
You say so simple, but yes, it's simple, but the success and fail rates are so varied, right?
Yes, exactly. So one of the things that I always stress is failure is part of the process, right? So I always convey the message, oh, okay, if your band doesn't come out, think about it. Why did it not? That is more important than having like a stripe there, right? So it doesn't matter. Yeah. So what I told you, my members are programmers, graphic designers, accountant, housewives. So we have all different walks of life. People from all different walks of life come to us, and then they contribute their expertise, right? So, I do not know quite a lot about social media, for example, or crowdfunding, for example. So we have uh, professionals who are doing it as their day job, right? So they can do better, like 100 times better than I do. So I basically let a free hand, and then they do whatever they think the best. I'm I'm just a facilitator. The group is not for me, so it's for everyone. And eventually we are aiming for one thing, right? So we want to grow in our microbiology knowledge enough to influence people around us, right? People who have never heard of the codon chart, for example, right? And the more people learn about this thing, the more people, I don't know, I hope one day they will be able to influence their government and their politicians will make the right choice and investing in science in a proper way. But citizens have enough knowledge to oversight. They don't necessarily have to know every single scientific paper, but they can oversight and check and balance what both the scientists and politicians are doing. So that is what I'm aiming for. So yeah.
Fantastic. Yeah. So, that was going to be my next question of what does biohacking mean to you? So maybe you can give, one or two sentences of what is biohacking.
Ooh, biohacking. I think in the computer language, so for you to be able to hack something, I think that person has to know enough knowledge to read the source code to begin with. So I'm well, there are a lot of hype around like CRISPR, like editing stuff, but in my within my group, the scope of our group, we haven't reached there yet. So we want to be able to have people to read the code of life. So that is more important than anything else, right? And also the way I think about it is after this IT age, information technology age, the next microbiology is the next step. That is where humankind are going to that. And one day I fear our personal information, our most valuable personal information is our DNA, ourselves. And younger people, young generations need to learn about central dogma, need to learn about codon chart to be able to protect their own rights. Otherwise, your DNA will be manipulated. That is the message that that I probably want to send to people who is reading this while viewing this video.
Amazing. So my last question is your group Open Petes open for collaboration? Are you recruiting new people to come into your initiative?
Yes, we are always looking for collaborators, especially international ones. We already have collaborators from the US, from Switzerland, from Mexico, and you know what? From Bali.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So he's an ecologist, and so he's trying to find out like bacteria that can break down other kind of plastics as well. And the way his thought process is, he's an active member of this Facebook group as well. So because he is in the tropical part of the world, so he thinks that they could be another enzyme that is secreted by another bacteria or organism that can function all year round, right? Because it's like tropical is like the temperature is high, right? So right. What I've learned now is petes doesn't function good in high temperature. So maybe this is some area that can open a path.
Nice, already collaborating. I love it. All right, so that's going to be it for us. Thank you so much for joining us. This is just a very short introduction to JK and Petes. So please, if you want to follow up with JK, the links are going to be below on the YouTube channel. And if you'd like to get in touch with me to pitch a proposal, feel free to email me. And be sure to join the Facebook group called the Biohacking and Genetic Engineering Group Design Group. So thanks very much. Take care. Bye.